right, here with me to discuss this, Gregory Bovino, Border Patrol Chief for the El Centro sector. Now, Chief, it's good to see you tonight. Have there been any arrests in the attacks on your agents? Because when I see this video of them hurling these rocks, and this isn't the first such video we've seen since these protests began, this is criminal activity putting individual agents' lives directly at risk. What can you tell us?
Sure. Laura, it's good to see you, and thank you for having me tonight. As far as the arrests go, we've made dozens of arrests during Operation at Large, which is the operation here in Los Angeles, the immigration operation. We've made dozens of arrests, and most of those arrests are for assault or impeding federal officers. That's a serious crime, and some of these folks, when they're arrested, are looking at some pretty serious time in prison.
CBP released this image of 9 juveniles who were found at this marijuana facility. One is as young as 14 years of age. What do we know about them? Were they working at the facility? Were they hanging out? Do we have any idea who their sponsors were at this facility run by this company called Glass Houses?
Sure, Laura. The juveniles that you see in that picture, several of them are not sponsored. Several came across the border, at least under the research that we found a few years ago, and they disappeared. You talked about the children that disappear. These are those children that have disappeared, the 300,000 children that have disappeared. You're seeing it real time right here. This is what is happening to some of those children. I believe one of the children may have been, at least at this point in the investigation, accompanied, but the rest that you see in that picture were unaccompanied juveniles, including that 14-year-old. What happens to these children? Where do they live? And what conditions are they put under, both at work and then when they're not working? A lot of questions.
It's children, women, shit, probably men. The cartel is actually taking a part of these people's income. We, as the United States government as a whole, know it. We know. Everybody in the United States know that it's all kind of dirty things going on as far as the human trafficking, people sneaking into the country out of desperation, and kids, unaccompanied minors in the country. Can you imagine being 13 or 14 years old in the United States by yourself? And you got brought into the United States by some criminal organization, and the United States government doesn't provide you any help. What they do is allow you to go and be exploited by their corporations, farmers, food processing companies. That's terrible to think that our government is so aware of this stuff and allowing it to persist.
Here, this is something that the Border Patrol has seen over the past 4 years when millions streamed across that border. Let me say that again. Millions streamed across that border, including children. Some of the things that we saw on the border were truly reprehensible. And now that we're in the interior,
well, one of my sources
conducting...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. One of my sources today in the federal government told me, look, remember that the money made at these farms or processing plants, remember, especially involving recent migrants, people who've crossed the border in the last few years, underage or not, a percentage of that money they're making, whatever they're making, is going to pay off their debt to the cartels who made sure that they got over the border. So these illegal pot grows and other agricultural interests are helping fund the cartels that are terrorizing America with drugs and also engaged in rampant human trafficking.
Yeah, and instead of making them American citizens and a part of their wages going to taxes, they're not American citizens and a part of their wages go to the cartel. It doesn't make any sense. We're not protecting them. We're not making them safe. If they have to have any contact or relationship with the cartel, that's terrible stuff. But something else that sticks out. The people hurling the bottles and the rocks and anything they can pick up off the ground and throw, or that they brought with them to throw. Those are the non-violent protesters they keep talking about. Those are the people who are our neighbors and our co-workers and the people who live in our communities. Those are the people. And this is how non-peaceful they can be and how we're told otherwise. And looking at violent videos and being told it's being accentuated that they are non-violent protesters. Everybody wants to put that out there in front. And then we see footage constantly like this. It's very hard if you were neutral or middle of the road or didn't have an opinion at all, and you get involved or engaged in these stories, to take this side of the illegal immigrant when you see them causing damage to law enforcement. And everyone in this country knows how law enforcement is protected and supported. And if you go against law enforcement, especially in a physical sense, throwing shit, and nothing happens to you, you're an illegal immigrant in this country and you're just freely throwing, and the local authorities aren't backing up ICE. They're not there to make sure that ICE can carry out their duties. They're out there on their own and having and with the potential to be injured. It's pretty incredible to see this stuff and to know that our government on any level is supporting this, and we're in conflict over police being assaulted. I thought we at some point had come on the same page where assaulting police wasn't acceptable. You convinced us over the years that it's unacceptable, and now right in our face we're seeing that it's acceptable. And these police officers are truly being pelted with rocks and project whatever hell they can get their hands on, and they're throwing it. And these are the nonviolent protesters. These are the peaceful protesters that all of our elected politicians, especially the black ones, are getting behind.
That's a part of this that we haven't discussed enough on the angle, but we're going to be discussing it a lot in the coming weeks. But this is reprehensible. And this organization, this, quote, business, this illegal pot grow, they're helping the cartels if this indeed is happening. And that's reprehensible in addition to all the other laws that are being broken here.
Well, Laura, that's exactly right. Every single person that's trafficked across that border, whether it's a child or an adult, pays several $1,000s to come across the border. And that several $1,000s does go to those cartels, as you say. Many are in modern day slavery-like conditions to pay those debts off. Here at this pot grow, at this drug farm that these children were working at, it's untelling what's happening to them. And as you said, the money that goes to these cartels, that's definitely
no one
happening.
cares.
It happens all across America, all across America.
Yeah, well, no one cares. They don't care. It's the bottom line. You get cheap labor. You get someone who can't leave and has to work. It's perfect indentured servitude.
And it's a perfect excuse to back their move, to back their movement, to back where they're trying to get to, but in the name of good-heartedness and taking care of children. Everything they say, they're going against in this video clip, knowing that children are some of the participants in this underpaid, exploited labor, and to be here unaccompanied. And we know, we're all aware of this, and just standing by and letting it happen. It's terrible to watch, really. And not because I've got some big old bleeding heart for people who chose to come into the country, paid to come into the country. And it's going to be rough for a small percentage of them. In the grand scheme of things, a small percentage of them will be affected by this. But all of them will benefit in the end because they're going to see this one through.
For those who feel like they're above the law. And I want you to hear, Chief, what LA Mayor Karen Bass said today, I would think that the mayor of Los Angeles would be horrified to see that children are working in the fields, okay, who were brought across the border, obviously a purpose to bring them across the border. But instead, this is what she's saying.
We also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you know, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash.
Damn. Karen Bass is about to give cash payments like what they were given during COVID, but this will be exclusively for illegal immigrants. Some of y'all ain't been paying attention, but that sounds like reparations to me. It's what it sounds like. For them being inconvenienced, for them being deported, for being here illegally, they're about to be compensated. They're about to be straightened out by the city of LA. Karen Bass is willing to sign a directive directly from her. This is not the city council or nobody else got to get involved in this. She's making sure these people get paid for being illegal immigrants. This is the fight. This is what we've been going to. Was a study done? Did anybody do a study to see if the illegal immigration directive that Karen Bass is about to do is something that, are the constituents being consulted first? How do they feel? Should we have an opportunity to speak openly about this before our money is just given to the illegal immigrants and they exploit it, and the underage and whoever else? How do you do that? How's it so easy to contact these people when you want to give them resources and give them money, but when you're trying to contact them to check their status and potentially deport them, they're nowhere to be found, or they're either out in the streets throwing bottles at you? It's hard to believe. And I'm black, and I'm sorry. Everybody telling us to quit whining and quit complaining and quit this and quit that. And shit, I didn't see one of those groups even request that. They want to be left alone. They want to not be deported. That's at the top of the things they're trying to do right now. And Karen Bass has decided on her own to pay them, to straighten them out, knowing that the black community in LA is in need, knowing that the homeless community in LA is in need, knowing that there is a segment of the veteran population that is in need, knowing that Latinos in the United States are in need, citizens of the United States. And this is our priority.
She is giving out free cash, just cash, to illegals. So if you want to talk about incentivizing illegal activity, stay home, don't go to work, and then the bishop out there, one of them says, don't go to church. So this is a dream for them. And they just get free money.
Absolutely unbelievable.
It's not the illegal immigrants' fault. If you can come into a country and they welcome you with open arms, and due to political processes that no one has no control over except the electorate, power change. And all of a sudden there are policies being enforced that were never enforced prior to this, and some new ones being implemented. It ain't the illegal immigrants' fault. It's the fault of the United States of America for not always talking about consistency and how what Donald Trump is doing so out of the norm. Well, in our daily lives, it's actually not out of the norm to have illegal immigrants all over the place running rampant in the country, but it should be. It should be something that should not be normalized, knowing that the nonviolent protesters are capable of that level of violence. It's a little scary for some people knowing that they're kind of roaming in the country freely after assaulting the police, and none of those people that in those films were being arrested. The ICE officers were just basically trying to get away.
You know what I see there when Mayor Bass says something like that is she chooses illegal aliens, drug cartels, terrorists, bad people, and bad things over American citizens. And I can't believe I'm actually hearing this, but that's why the U.S. Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection, ICE, HSI, and all those allied law enforcement agencies are in these communities. People like that won't do anything about this, so guess what, Laura? We're going to.
All the time we spent in slavery, all the Jim Crow, all the massacres and lynchings and all those things that I could just quote, repeat, speak on command. And a study needs to be done before any cash aid will ever come to black people from the United States, any level, state, city, federal, county, neighborhood, any of them. It's a damn shame. And these people, Karen Bass is about to sign this directive and give them cash. No study, no city council, no coalition of people getting together other than her saying, we got to do this. You don't think at any point in Karen Bass's life she's ever thought that black people needed some help, that homeless people needed some help, that some of these other groups, when are they going downtown and waking up some of these homeless people and getting them up off the street and giving them some cash payments? They are citizens of the United States in most cases. But I don't think that the homeless population has a bunch of illegal immigrants in it. It appears to me that they seem to be very well taken care of with employment and now directives that give them cash. When there's never enough money for anything, never enough money. Everybody's broke. And then when you got them dead to rights, then they throw their hands up and they hey, we'd like to help you, but we got to do a study. Where's your study? Karen Bass? I tell you, well, I wish other politicians would learn from this. And when other groups that have been harmed and are currently being harmed come to you with requests for help, just sign a directive. Just make an executive order. Just do it based on how you feel. And don't worry about the backlash, because you're not worried about the backlash, if there's any at all, for your action. And we just got to deal with it and keep paying our taxes. Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.